Hi, I'm Spoons, and I live to suffer. And what could represent suffering better than the second Savage Beastfly fight in Hollow Knight Silksong? This fight is infamous for its annoying arena that makes the fight much harder than it should be. There was so much suffering in this boss fight that I was in masochist paradise. Unfortunately, I got good enough at the fight that I ended up beating it hitless. It was then I realized that there was no more suffering to be found in Savage Beastfly. Or was there? With the power of the Architect mod, I could make the fight as annoying and crazy as I could possibly want. So I came up with 10 increasingly stupid ways to fight the Savage Beastfly. This is the first arena I came up with. I avoided the Beastfly to give it more health and an extra attack. Then I thought to myself, what if the floor and walls were covered completely in thorns? Next I needed a way to keep myself above the thorns, so what if I could only pogo to keep myself above them? Now what should we use to pogo off of? Balloons? Small balloons? A giant scarecrow? They were all good options, but in the end, I decided to go with several crats spread throughout the arena. Every time I hit a crat, it bounces up and lands somewhere else, so I had to pay attention to where the crats were to avoid the thorns. As we all know, it's our moral obligation to make crats suffer too, and I think I did a decent job at it this time around. Now I wanted to see how hard a giant Beastfly would be. Phrasing, sorry.
I like 'em big, I like 'em chunky, I like 'em big, I like 'em plumpy, I like 'em round, with something, they like my sound, they think I'm funky, my name is Mortimer.
The answer is not very. It gets stuck on things really easily, so you can just walk away at it. Since the giant Beastfly was disappointing, I figured a mini Beastfly would be the opposite. So as Hornet checked her mail and went inside her bell home, she found a nasty miniature Savage Beastfly claiming its territory. And yep, I was right. It was in fact more difficult when it was smaller. Behold, I have transformed the Savage Beastfly into a satiric critique of the gaming industry. For a low bid of 100 rosaries, you could potentially skip the Savage Beastfly entirely. You know what the worst part of this was though? I actually got excited when I finally won. So I had to ban myself from the Savage Beastfly executing slot machine. Now that I had paid to win, I decided to tackle a less expensive challenge. So I made the floor entirely lava with only a scaled down scarecrow in the middle to bounce off of. I also hadn't figured out how to get the Beastfly to some things yet, so to compensate I just spawned 2 regular Beastflies but made them invincible. Essentially, the scarecrow took up enough space that I could easily bounce on it crazy style, and after I bounced on it hard enough, I won the fight. Unfortunately, I fell in at the end, but it still counts. I've never seen Saw, but I know there's lots of suffering, most likely involving saws. So I felt inspired to create an arena entirely out of saws. And as I'm sure you noticed, the Beastfly itself is also spinning. Also, I made it so it always has the void saw attack. Now this was a real challenge. No floor to walk on, no walls to cling onto. It was easy to get knocked into a saw and take a total of 3 damage off of one hit. It was tough, but I did manage to clutch out a win. I met an asexual person once. He was about as fun as the Architect's Melody puzzle, but that's not important. You see, this unimpressive asexual inspired me to ask myself, what if the Savage Beastfly could reproduce asexually? So I made a Beastfly that could summon 1 to 2 Beastflies that can also summon 1 to 2 Beastflies that can also summon 1 to 2 Beastflies, and so on. As you can imagine, this can get out of hand very quickly. Now, it's pretty easy to just defeat the Beastfly before it could summon anything, but I wanted to get the experience of having to face multiple Beastflies, so I dealt damage relatively slowly at first, then when it spawned more Beastflies, I could go in full-on spawning. I have something to admit to you. I'm not an ambi-turner. It's a problem I've had since I was a baby. I can't turn left. Because if I do, it spawns another Savage Beastfly. So yes, every time I turn left, a new Beastfly spawns. Here's what my first try looked like. Now, as you can see here, the very first thing I do is turn left and spawn a second Beastfly. The muscle memory for turning left was too strong, and I kept summoning more and more Beastflies on accident. Also, fun fact, sometimes when you take damage, you automatically turn left. So taking any damage at all risks spawning more Beastflies. Needless to say, my first try did not go well. But eventually, I figured that the best way to beat this challenge is to not let the Beastfly spawn a single one of itself. To deal with the muscle memory issue, I used the D-pad to move instead of the analog stick. I also found that only time Skull Brace will ever be useful. If I dash downward, I can move left without having to turn left. Then I had to get used to using the D-pad and Skull Brace well enough to not get hit at all. After a while, I got a clean fight without spawning a single other Beastfly. Good news, I invented a new sport. I call it Crap Ball. To win, you have to knock the crap ball into the crat zone. But there's an invincible Savage Beastfly trying to attack you the entire time. The only way to kill it is to knock Krat into the Krat zone, which causes the Beastfly to immediately die. This actually was my first attempt, and I realized that I'm probably never going to beat this, so I just never tried again. Now imagine a world where every time near the Beastfly attacks, 5 crats rain from the sky, because that's exactly what I did. Now this wasn't the biggest challenge, but my god did it make me smile. Fun fact, if there are enough crats blocking your way, it suspends you in the air so you can't jump. I got around this by using the beast crest since its pogo lifts you upwards and bounces you off a crat into the air. Now the goal is to defeat the Beastfly before I blew up my PC from too many crats. And don't worry, all crats involved were safely and humanely disposed of into the void. Okay, I saved the most stupidly hard challenge for last. I did the most difficult race this guy has to offer, but I had to win while defeating a Beastfly mid-race. I needed to save as much time as possible to have any chance of winning this. I used the claw line as much as I could, taking advantage of the silk I got from hitting the Beastfly. Also, hitting your opponent is extremely helpful. I'm still figuring out the Architect mod, so I found placing the Beastfly against this wall was the most consistent way to get the Beastfly's attention without having to attack you before the race starts. I'm sure there's a better way to do this, but I'm not smart enough to figure it out. And yep, this race literally could not have been any closer. It doesn't even look like I won, but he got sad at the end, so that means I won. And I'll take it, because that was really hard to do and I don't want to do it again. And with that last race, my appetite for suffering was sated and I could finally rest. If you also love suffering, drop a like and subscribe so that I know you're one of my people. Okay, bye.